And welcome back to The Count, where we are counting down the major stories of the week. I'm Heather Childers along with Andrew Giuliani, and we're wrapping up our countdown with story number one, shots for gun control. Now, President Biden and congressional Democrats aiming for stricter gun legislation in the wake of tragic shootings. However, as our panel of experts pointed out earlier in the show, these laws may very well do nothing to prevent those tragedies. And tonight, we're helping you out, and we're helping you take your personal safety into your own hands with our next guest, Dianna Muller. She is a former Tulsa police officer and a professional shooter. Thank you so much for joining us, Dianna. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
So what's the number one thing that you would say to folks at home watching all of these shootings, violent attacks happening? What can they do to protect themselves?
Well, as a police officer for 22 years, I realized that, I usually showed up after the fact. So people really do need to understand that they can take their own safety into their own hands. And if 2020 has taught us nothing else, it's that we are our own first responder. So if they choose not to carry, obviously these gun-free zones, I believe these gun-free zones are detrimental and they kill. They are allowing crazy people to take advantage of law-abiding citizens that leave their guns at home or in their cars. But if they don't want to carry, there are some things that you can do. When we grew up, CPR was the biggest craze, but right now I believe that tourniquets should be in every man, woman, and child's backpack. They're not heavy, they're not difficult to use, and if anything that the Pulse nightclub shooting told us, it was that you can save yourselves. A lot of those people could have been saved if people had tourniquets and had the knowledge to use them.
Wow. So I wanted to get your take on one thing. We found out yesterday that the NYPD would not have liability insurance anymore. I know that we've seen over the last year much more because lawmakers have really tied police departments' hands, much more kind of reactive policing. What will that end up doing to police forces around the country if they will not be protected by their city?
Well, it's called qualified immunity, and really, if police departments like New York, they follow New York's lead and they get rid of qualified immunity, I believe that your best police officers, your most compassionate police officers, anybody that has any intelligence is going to walk away from that job because it's just too dangerous, not in a physical sense, but in a financial sense, and it creates so much liability. And I've had arguments with people on the Second Amendment advocacy side of, that police officers shouldn't have special protection, that citizens don't. But we're asking police officers to go into battle, basically. We're asking police officers to take, the most dangerous criminals off of the street. And it would be lawsuit heaven for these people if they didn't have qualified immunity.
Dianna Muller, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And all your years, 25 years serving in the police department in Tulsa. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.